forms here in this matchup for Andy Nacci, assuming that he does draw it, as Chris is going to start our semifinals by sacrificing the Wooded Foothills, go down to 19. I think we'll see a Forest and probably an Elvish Mystic here in just a moment.
And unlike last round, this is a pretty solid matchup for Frostwalker against Tom Ross's heroic deck. There's all sorts of bad things happen to that card, but here, most of the time, it's just going to be trading with a removal spell just like any other threat.
There's an Elvish Mystic. Nacci will draw a card, starts things off with the Frostwalker as Frontier Bivouac, and he'll send it back over to VanMeter. VanMeter's draw is a Thunderbreak Regent. This is a Mountain. That is an attack for 1. We'll see if there's a follow-up, and there is not. So to Nacci we go. A Forest, a Frostwalker. See if VanMeter has a removal spell here in Draconic Roar. It does not look like he does.
Good news for Andy. And now Chris is probably going to be cranking out a stream of 4/4s, and Frostwalker matches up very well. Xenaghost is a problematic card in this spot for Andy. 2/2s are very good against Frostwalker.
Especially something that makes quite a few of them. Chris does have a Haven of the Spirit Dragon, so he'll start by playing that. And now here is Thunderbreak Regent. Haven of the Spirit Dragon helping cast the dragon.
A little mana fixing does a little bit of everything.
Nacci will draw a Stormbreath Dragon. Excuse me, he'll draw a Savage Knuckleblade. My apologies. He has a Forest, which means he can't play Old Nux. Coming in with Frostwalker.
If Chris played Thunderbreak Regent instead of Xenaghost here, I had to imagine he's... interesting line of play. I would assume the lines are either Xenaghost and block, or Thunderbreak Regent and don't block. Unless he's just trying to trade off and get fancy with this Haven of the Spirit Dragon somewhere down the line. But if he's going to pursue that line of play, I think I would have preferred just for Xenaghost to be cast. So we'll see where this goes.
Maybe he has bigger plans for Xenaghost that involve Dragonlord Atarka. It's not out of the question.
Yep, certainly that could be a factor as well.
And even able to, because on that turn, right, if he plays Xenaghost, makes a 2/2 passes, and Nacci just goes Lightning Striker 2/2, kill your Xenaghost, then the Dragonlord Atarka is kind of stranded. This way, he can play Xenaghost, make a 2/2. We'll see if he attacks with the Elvish Mystic or not, and say, okay, full-blown defense on my Xenaghost, so the next turn I can Dragonlord Atarka your entire board.
Yeah, if Chris has Dragonlord Atarka in hand, this makes a lot of sense for exactly the reasons you described.
And it looks like he does have one, and he's not attacking with the Elvish Mystic, so that's his plan.
Yep.
And it makes a lot of sense now. There's Boon Satyr End Step, something that the Satyr token lines up very, very well against. Keep in mind, too, that Xenaghost, given there are 2 creatures out there, there's actually access to 7 mana as well for Atarka next turn. There's a Goblin Routemaster.
It's a pretty good board for Atarka.
Yeah, I've seen worse boards. Seen worse ones. Goblin token coming in, Satyr token gonna block it. And I think Andy Nacci is about to lose his whole board and some life. Haven of the Spirit Dragon to draw. There we go. Elevator is going up. Yikes.
That's a crackerjack. Chris made some posts earlier today about how he's been having a blast with this one. And against a non-black deck, this is going to be hard for Andy to erase.
This is just a card that feels like it should cost 8 mana. And the fact that it costs 7 mana, it just lines up so perfectly.
Yeah.
The Goblin token's going to run right into the 8/8 flyer. Chris actually has his other copy of Dragonlord Atarka in hand. I'm not entirely sure he's going to need that.
Yeah, I mean, Legend Rule is a bit of a bummer, but I think the first one will be good enough.
He can get the loop going.
Oh yeah, he can just go infinite.
Yeah, cast 1, get it back with Haven of the Spirit Dragon, just have a grand old time. I don't know if we have time to jump that backup match because Michael Egolf is up a game mono red, very quickly up a game over Jesse Grogan playing Abzan aggro. Chris gonna make a Satyr token to come in here to the red zone. The other thing about the old Dragonlord Atarka, it's an 8/8.
Yep.
Andy's at 16, so this one's probably gonna end pretty quick here.
It's nice that it at least kills you fast.
I suppose that's true.
You know, I don't want to be playing out the stretch here.
Chris gonna sacrifice this, get this back, your turn.
SCG live first.
Yeah, Haven. The Haven gets used. And that is enough of this for Andy Nacci. Chris VanMeter gonna win game number 1 here over Andy Nacci. Green-red aggro. destroys Teamer Aggro thanks to Dragon Lord Atarka.
Chris just having a ball.
Absolutely he is. We take a look at the sideboards here. We'll start with Andy and his Hornet Nest. His 2 copies of Destructive Revelry, 3 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Feed the Clans, 3 Stubborn Denial, a Surak Dragonclaw, 2 Barrage of Boulders, and a Roast.
I like the Surak in this matchup because Chris doesn't really contend with the board. I like the 3 copies of Disdainful Stroke because Chris is packing a lot of expensive stuff, and that's it.
Other side here for Chris, 2 Arbor Colossus, 2 Hornet Nest, 2 Destructive Revelry, 2 Wild Slash, 3 Seismic Rupture, a Chandra, a Nissa, a Mob Rule, and a Roast.
I can get behind the Roast. I can get behind the Mob Rule. And I like the 2 copies of Arbor Colossus and the 2 copies of Hornet Nest. Very good sideboard here for Chris. Lots of to go up the ground, some extra removal here, and Mob Rule, which could be a real breaker in this kind of matchup.
Yeah, the one of Mob Rule. No stories from Chris yet about maybe drawing that and blowing anyone out with it, but it seems good in these big creature matchups.
He said it was, he told me the intent of this card is for the mirror match, but this is kind of like a mirror match. The cards in 80 deck are very much different, but it's the same sort of deal. Both players are accelerating into big threats and trying to be on the front foot the whole game, and there's not a lot of removal floating around. So even though it isn't exactly a mirror match, it's close enough that I think Mob Rule's coming in.
Well, we will talk here as these players shuffle up about SCG Game Night. It is April. You've seen on our lapels, we have our kitty cat.
Yeah, this is the April kit. If your store is signed up, which they should be, every month we send a kit with new foils and tokens to be given out at the store for whatever night of the week this is run, whatever format, sanctioned or unsanctioned. Too late to get signed up for the April kit, but if you're looking to get signed up for the May kit, which we have in front of you here, a little worker bees, pretty sweet with Hornet Nest and Co. And we also have the June kit ready for you. It's a bunny.
Grow up.
Never.
All right, buddy's kind of cool. So we need names for our friends here.
I'll have to think about it some.
I've got one for the bee.
Which is?
Sting.
Sting is, I mean, that's pretty literal.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Sting will play.
Buzz.
Buzz will play.
Also will play. As far as the bunny is concerned, not really in touch with bunnies. Not really great at that.
I have to think about it. Sometimes animal names, they just come to me. You know what I mean? Like, you can't force it. You just wait for the creative process to spit out something really sweet.
Has there ever been any bunny tribal? Like, I know Rabid Wombat was a card. Horrifying. Used to love it.
Rabbit Wombat was a card. That's actually one of Magic's very first super sweet designs.
Okay.
Beloved.
Okay.
Not very powerful, but beloved. Wombats and rabbits, bunnies, they aren't quite the same thing. And the Rabbit Wombat is frothing at the mouth. I believe this was reprinted in Chronicles, which is how I got my hands on those bad boys, because cards from Legends I could not afford.
Young Patrick, priced out of Legends.
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? Ernam Dijin? Couldn't afford that one?
Great card.
You're not going to believe the cards that were in Chronicles that were very valuable at the time because people perceived them to be powerful. Killer Bees, Carrion Ants. You would not be able to play these cards in draft decks. And honestly, they are unplayable in Modern Magic in draft decks. And at the time, people thought they were so powerful that they were, I don't know, 20 or 30 bucks at a time where cards just weren't really worth $20 or $30.
Yes, there he is. Assuming that's a he. Foaming at the mouth, 4-mana 0/1. I used to own and enchant this thing quite a bit.
If you like Invisible Stalker decks, this was sort of the precursor.
It's beautiful. 4-mana 0/1, Summon Wombat. Yep. One of my favorite parts.
People's decks already played with way too many creature enchantments during that time, so this naturally slotted into a variety of strategies.
Should get paid off for it.
Spirit Link, that's the first one you will want to put on it.
Okay.
And after that, it's just whatever your heart desires.
The old Wombat. Apparently, our backup match, by the way, going to Game 3, Jesse Grogan able to tie things up against Michael Egolf. So Obs on aggro. And Mono Red going to Game 3. Egolf will be on the play with his red deck.
It's a really good animate dead target, because that's an enchantment.
True.
Not good with Eternal Warrior. That's really the only enchantment it doesn't play well with. But otherwise, quite powerful.
If you guys have any suggestions for bunny names, by the way, we are taking them. Just so that you know. Love myself some names for animals. Buzz is what I'm going to go with for my bee. You can name yours whatever you want, because it's yours. But
Buzz is really good.
Buzz will be mine. I've cooled on Sting already. There's just too many things named Sting.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of off of Sting.
The professional wrestler, the recording artist.
2 is enough for me.
Yeah, that's already a lot.
That's a lot. I don't think there are any famous Buzzes out there besides Lightyear.
Yeah, Buzz Lightyear's. The guy from the moon landing, Buzz Aldrin.
That sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Pretty famous buzz landing on the moon.
Yep. I've just been informed on Twitter by @MivNizit that there was a bee attack in Florida.
Like today?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So my fear of them is actually rational.
No, I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was irrational. What I said was most of the time they go on the offensive. It's because you got too close to their area. You were being disruptive. You know, it's rare that it happens for no reason. Because when they sting you, they die. So it's not like they're just firing that off for the sake of firing it off.
I'm sure there are kamikaze bees that exist who have just had enough and are just going to attack the first thing.
I don't think that's how that works at all.
Well, but you're not sure. You're not sure.
Yeah, I am opening up maybe more doubt than I should here.
It's completely possible that there's just a bee out there who is just furious.
Just whispering at his buddy. It's like, let's just go screw with Cedric. Stick him in the arm.
True. Frontier Bivouac will start things off here. VanMeter does have a Temple of Abandon. Chris is going to figure out if he wants to put this card on top or bottom. You see a Sylvan Carry at it there. I think the question is, does Chris have a untapped land? It looks like he has a Wooded Foothills hanging out. There is another Frontier Bivouac, so mana, as far as colors are concerned, not going to be an issue here for Andy this game.
Well, this is a slow start, and he's got to be the aggressor. We saw what happened last game when Chris just gets the Dragon Lord Tarka. That's it. That's
Arrow Wilds, ooh, and a missed land drop here. That's tough there.
And Chris with a great curve here. Hornet Nest at the ready, a Storm Breath Dragon to top things off with. Just a great start already.
Hornet Nest very, very good, too, against Andy's deck.
Frostwalker
really
and friends.
Yeah. The only way they can kill it is with burn spells, like Greater Skulls and Lightning Strike. There is the Nest. That'll probably slow down the old Air of the Wilds there. I don't know if it's a land. It is.
Pretty solid against Frostwalker as well.
You leave Frostwalker alone. Maybe it's time for Rabble Master's pretty bad here.
Andy's deck does not play very well against this card. For beatdown decks on the ground, usually they need to have some sort of can't block effect. Encasing Ice would be good in this spot. I don't believe Andy has it in his sideboard.
It does not.
Heel Cutter, things along those lines. But trying to slog through this thing on the ground is tough.
Good block by Chris. Now, of course, the Nest is just an 0-2, so Air of the Wilds isn't going anywhere.
But Andy broke it open.
Yep.
Now the bees come out.
I can't really rack my brain of designs in Magic that I love, but Hornet Nest is like one.
So charming,
like number
right?
one on the top of my list. Because I don't do game design like you, but for me, seeing that card and just how it works all the way through is just awesome.
When flavor matches function, that's as good as it gets. And Hornet Nest is at the top of the list. Magic has had flavor match before, but not really function. There's a lot of examples of cards that are good flavor fits, but play horribly.
There's a Rose to take care of Savage Knuckleblade. Like, I like the card Summon the School.
Sure.
The Merfolk card from Lorwyn.
Great example.
I thought that was a really cool card flavor-wise. Bring back fishies, use the fishies to bring it back, just keep going.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Magic has some other good flavor matches that don't play the best. For example, Sinkhole or Moat. Pretty good representation of what those effects do. Not Strip Mine.
Yeah.
Another good example. Hornet Nest, on the other hand, everyone can get behind a Hornet Nest.
Why do they always have to involve destroying lands?
Black Vice. Yeah. pretty good fit.
I think we have a disdainful stroke to take care of. That Storm Breath Dragon. Oh, Chris might be getting in with this Hornet.
And I wonder if Chris could have just kind of sat here for a little while Andy's not doing anything, instead of running into the disdainful stroke. I guess if his hand's all expensive stuff, he doesn't have much of a choice.
Which it looks like it is at this point.
But you hate seeing that when your opponent's stalling on lands and you feel like at some point they're going to have to commit something to the board.
Which is what Andy's doing right now.
Yep.
Playing Goblin Rabble Master. The Goblin will run to the Sylvan Caryatid, pass that turn back over to VanMeter. However, the window is open here for Chris if he has a follow-up play. He has a Forest, and I believe he has another copy of Stormbreath Dragon.
Not surprising, Chris's follow-up play, Stormbreath Dragon.
His MVP. Crater's Claws, gonna take care of that old boy.
Good turn.
And some beatdowns too. And Andy does have a copy of Disdainful Stroke in hand now. Another Rabble Master. Things just not lining up correctly here for Nacci.
Yeah, he really needed to make his land drops earlier than this. He stumbled. He was on 2 Frontier Bivouacs and didn't get the ball rolling. And we know that Chris's top end is better. So once we get to this spot, Andy's way behind.
And Andy has a lot of cards in hand, so I think we can just go Monster Stormbreath Dragon, deal enough damage. That's an extension of the hand. Chris VanMeter going to win this game and match here over Andy Nacci. He hasn't dropped the game in the top 8. He's only dropped 1 match all tournament long.
Easy breezy.
He is moving on to the finals. Going to play the winner, Jesse Grogan and Michael Egoff. It's either Mono Red Aggro or Abzan Aggro. And both might be pretty good matchups for Chris.
Well, I think both of them are interesting in different ways. I think both matchups are very close. We'll get there when we get there. But so far, Chris, first overall seed, 1 match loss the entire weekend. And at 31st place, only 1 bye coming in. So now, I believe that would make him 15-1 in actual matches played.
Yeah, concession.